Hello everyone and welcome back to Hiking in History, part 7, day 7, the last part of the North Welsh Coast walk. We're doing it now. We are going from Llanfairfechan, which is just there, probably pronounced wrong, to Bangor, which will be down here. And we've not even got that long to go really. My guide says it's about 9 miles, 9.5 the whole walk. There's a sign that I've just gone past that only said it was 6 miles to Bangor, but that might just be like a direct thing, not by concluding all the path. Beautiful start. There's Puffin Island and Anglesey, and then, well, what's it? I think is it called the Menai Strait? The Menai Strait, I think, or that might be the water bit where the bridge passes over. But it is absolutely beautiful here. Tide is out, but yes, today is the last day. So if you want to, this is part 7, so go watch all the other parts if you haven't already. I walked all the way from Chester and ending in Bangor, so 7-day hike all off on the North Welsh Coast. We've been everywhere. We started in Chester, through to Flint, all along where those like industrial like little fishing communities and everything was. That was fantastic. All the way from Flint to Llanfairfechan Lighthouse, absolutely beautiful there, that beach. And then all across the seaside towns, like Rhyl, Prestatyn, Abergele. And then from Abergele we went to the most famous probably seaside town, which will be Llandudno, which we can kind of still see. If you see over there that big island, that'll be that's the Great Orme, so we can still see the Great Orme, which is close to Llandudno. We went over the Little Orme, that was gorgeous there. We saw seals, wild seals, crossed the Big Orme, the Great Orme in terrible weather, and got down this stunning bit of coastline where it gets very mountainous with all the quarrying and slate mining and all the rest. Some wonderful views we've seen, wonderful places, and we are heading now to Bangor. I'm on a time limit today though, because there are train strikes, so I've got to get into Bangor for about 4 p.m, so it has just gone 9:15 in the morning, so we should have plenty of time really, because it is a shorter section of the walk. This shouldn't take too long, so we're on our way now and we're going to enjoy the last day. Beautiful this area. You can see all the Welsh mountains and hills here, all in the distance. If you saw the last part, the end of part 6, I went to Aberfalls, which it'll be tucked in that valley just there. You go past this one and then it's like tucked in there, and you have to go inland a little bit. But there's absolutely tons to explore here, loads of valleys. If you go inland, all these you can climb on top, of course, and you get amazing views up there. I've been before last year, up the top of those on them mountains. You get incredible views across here, where it's because the tide's always doing something interesting. It's either, you know, all out and you get all these sandbanks appearing, or the colour of the water is all different in different places. It is wonderful. Wonderfully peaceful out here at this time in the morning. Absolutely barely anyone around, just a couple of walkers, runner, maybe a dog walker here and there. Absolutely beautiful, really nice atmosphere. And we're heading inland a little bit now because we can't cross this. This is salt marsh we're going to be crossing, so quite boggy, but I think it's just a little way around it. It has to be said as well, the first like 2 days of the walk are like really well signposted with the Welsh Coast path sign, so it's relatively easy to do, even just doing that. However, I could not recommend or stress enough that if you come and do this North Welsh Coast route, buy this guide, or any guide I guess, but this one's really good. I've been using it the whole time. I've been following it. It's been my Bible, and you could sort of do it online, I guess. I think there is an app, like a North Welsh Coast app, but it's really bad. Like, it barely works. And I know you can get OS maps on your phone and stuff like that, but honestly, the guide's like really fantastic. It points out so many like interesting things along the way, and I think it's the first time I've used one properly, and it's just a better feeling kind of doing it the old school way, you know. It just feels a bit more adventurous, that you're figuring everything out and just reading this book. But yes, as I was saying, so the first 2 days are really well marked anyway on the route, but after that, and especially kind of now, when you're just kind of heading to Bangor essentially, you know, from sort of even Talaka way, but really when you sort of get to Llandudno especially, there's quite large parts of it that are just not they're not waymarked, or they're not waymarked a lot, so like without the guide you'd really be kind of stuck. Right now, for instance, I'm going to check because the path forks here. I can go either that way or straight ahead, and you know, there's no sign to tell me which way the North Welsh Coast path is, so this is a guide solution. So there's a mix of like sand, mud flats and salt marsh all along here, where I'm walking now, like a nature reserve. That's the perfect habitat apparently to thousands of migrating birds from like the Arctic, and fish and all different sorts of animals. And you can see like the birds here, because all this is just like mud flats here, and you do see them walking around just pecking into the mud, because there are, I don't know, kind of worm type things, or I don't know what kind of animal is a worm. I'm trying to think of the word. It's not a mollusk. It's not what I'm looking for. But you know, there's lots of like insecty type things and like microscopic animals and all that stuff. I mean, I'm trying to be like David Attenborough now, and I've literally got such zero knowledge. I have zero knowledge on like nature really, and wildlife and all the rest. But believe me, this environment is important. You know how I know that? It's because the guidebook said so, that's why. So it's a lovely place to walk and enjoy. Beautiful walk this, absolutely gorgeous section. Great for bird watching and stuff if you're into that, and I've got some souvenirs to take back. This part here is just absolutely covered in shells. There's the mountain of Penmenoir, probably pronounced wrong again, but here we are, beautiful. There's a castle in the distance as well. It's another one of the Victorian castles that is sort of made to look like it's an older, so it's a fake if you want to call it that, but I think it's an ungenerous way to describe them like the Victorian ones that are built to make, you know, look like they're older. Because I think they're really beautiful in their own right, and really interesting in their own right as well. Of course, you know, you're into history, age matters, so like the original, you know, super old ones are like, you know, kind of revered, but I still think there's something very charming and beautiful about them, and we get a sense of what the castles of old would have actually really looked like in the landscape, at least, you know, even if the architecture is a bit different and all the rest of it. It's sort of a nice romantic view of it, of castles. I don't even know if you can see it, but it's just over there. I'm pretty sure we get quite close to it, so we'll pass it. I'm absolutely loving this section of the walk. It's so quiet and peaceful here. It's a really nice way to end this 7-day walk, to be honest, because you kind of do the busiest days are actually like the first 3, I'd probably say. Those are the ones where you're walking the most, like the biggest distance, and there's also the most kind of detours and things that you can see around. The first 3 days are really jam-packed with stuff to see, and you're following the directions all the time. It's not really just go in a straight line, follow the coast for however many miles. Whilst once day 4 kicks in, there's bits here and there, but it eases down then, especially after day 4. The mileage goes down, so you're doing shorter walks, and it turns more into just sort of natural beauty kind of things. So you're just walking across coast, or across, you know, marshland and stuff. Like, look at this, there's a train going by. It's no wonder this place is like perfect for wildlife. Yeah, or you're going over kind of big hills and mountains and whatnot. But it really gets a lot quieter by the end, and it's nice. It's actually more relaxing by the end, so you do all the hard work in the beginning 4 days, and then it chills out, which is lovely because your feet are absolutely destroyed after them first 4 days. The 3rd day was the hardest for me. 3rd day my left foot was absolutely killing me, and then the start of the 4th, it was the same. I was like, oh god, I don't know how I'm going to carry on. Like really killing me, and I'm like, you know, I'm no wimp when it comes to kind of like walking pains. Like, I'll put up with anything basically, but this was like, it was really bad. So when it started hurting again on the 4th day, I was like, Jesus. But I carried on, and after about an hour, I slowed my pace down for one, and then after about an hour it just kind of eased off. The pain was still there, and I can even still feel it a teeny bit now, but I don't know whether it's like my foot building up muscle or whether it's just completely numb to the pain now, but I feel like it's the former. I feel like my foot has actually got stronger, and that's what the pain was coming on. It was just like building up this new muscle. So doing one of these walks, you're probably going to have to go through something like that. You're going to have to go through a day that is just like, oof, agony. But then afterwards, you know, you'll find yourself actually, not that it's like dead easy, like my feet are aching, I've got blisters and whatnot, but like it's not that bad at all. Like I could, hypothetically, I'm not going to because I don't want to, but I could go for like another 7 days like this, really, if I had to. At this pace, you could kind of walk just like this forever. You get enough rest each day, and it's chill. Lovely little bridge going over this river here. Don't know what river this is. It could be the one from Aber Falls, maybe. The stream then maybe comes down to here. I could be talking completely out my arse there. Very beautiful. They're very Shire-esque now around here. Not if you look out over here, but just that bit. Absolutely wonderful. I'm on like a boardwalk now. Getting further and further in now. Anglesey is very close by, you can see. I don't know if you'll be able to see the castle there, just there. Penrhyn Castle, I think it's called. I think that's how you pronounce it. Very beautiful here where it is. But yes, it is. It's not an ancient castle. It is a Victorian one that was built by a very wealthy laddo. Hopefully we'll get a closer view of it so it'll show up on camera and I'll talk about it then. Part of the path here that just kind of completely disappears, and on the left is a farm that you can't get through, and on the right is all the mud and the marshland. So this is technically still the path, but it does, as you can see just up ahead, it flattens out and gets back onto grass, but you do just have to walk across this bit first. It's just kind of waste. I don't know if we're going to get a better view of Penryn Castle because we are going down here, so maybe it'll clear up. You probably can barely even see it on here, it's just there. Crazy how much bigger everything looks in person. But yes, that's Penryn Castle. So yeah, like I've said, Penryn Castle, it's not an old castle, it's not from like the 13th century or anything like that, it's not medieval, it's a fairly modern castle. Well, 1800s I believe, yeah, 19th century, so 1800s, built by a very wealthy gentleman by the name of George Dawkins Pennant, from the proceeds of sugar plantations in Jamaica and local slate quarries as well. He obviously owned a lot, so that was all built basically with like slave money and, well, local quarries as well, but he had sugar plantations in Jamaica, so yeah, tear it down brick by brick, destroy it. Such an oppressive gentleman that he was. No, just kidding, of course. I don't believe in any of that rubbish. Tearing stuff down. Ridiculous. But very many famous and influential people used to stay along here, including Queen Victoria, the very own Queen Victoria, Queen Vic. And it's apparently she slept on a specially made bed made of 1 ton of slate. I don't know, the actual frame must have been made out of slate rather than, just sleeping on a slab of slate. That won't be comfortable, would it? But yes, so very wealthy people, they're billionaires of the day, and that is the kind of house building that they could afford to build from owning all these businesses, whether they be abroad using slaves at the time, or like local factories and quarries and everything here. Although now that I'm thinking about it, it did say in the guide, it does just say 19th century sugar plantations. Well, I don't know the dates exactly off the top of my head, but the abolition of slavery from Britain was quite early-ish, I think, in the 1800s. I believe I'm right in saying that. I'm thinking it's like, isn't it like the 1820s or something like that? Now, that was the abolition of slavery, but I know it kind of continued in sort of lesser ways. It took a few more years, I think, for some of the I can never say that word, colonies, like places out in Jamaica or whatever. I know it took a little bit longer for them to kind of adjust and switch the model, and even then, sometimes for years after, it's like they weren't technically slaves, like they were free, but they kind of still were, because there was, it was a period of change and things can't just snap perfectly into place overnight. So a lot were kind of, even though technically free, were kind of still in servitude. But who knows, actually. So this guy's wealth from the castle, I'm not sure, possibly slave money, but if it was built in the late 1800s or mid to late 1800s, the sugar plantations would have just been farmed by actual workers, not slaves. So maybe not slave money. Who knows? I'll have a Google. Future Oliver here, currently editing the video. I have had a Google, and it is actually very likely that it was slave money that built the castle. The dates are very close to when the castle had been built and the abolition of slavery itself. They kind of overlap a little bit. So, and the guy, what was his name? big old George Hay Dawkins pennant. He was a staunch non-believer of the abolition of slavery, even though it's obviously happened. Um, yeah, he was against it, just like his ancestors had been. But even though maybe, by the time the castle was being built or was like almost finished being built, um, he didn't own any slaves probably at that point. But with all the money that he's actually paying for it, it was when he had probably already had slaves and everything. So that is the confirmation. Climbed a bit now, and wonderful views here along the Menai Strait. Lots of birds down here feeding and chilling out. And I think we're going to actually get a better view of Penrhyn Castle just behind these trees hopefully soon. Beautiful. There we go, that's a bit better. Get that just there. Here's my path. And this is a beautiful little bay. This looks very quiet and private. To be a very good place. It's a stony beach, but if you don't mind that, this is a beautiful little area where you could go for a swim. It'd be gorgeous. It's near, it's definitely close to Penrhyn Castle, because I can't see it at the moment, but it literally will just be around here somewhere. And I think we're going to be, I don't know if we're heading around there, because I've got a feeling we're not even going to see, I was hoping we'd see the Menai Bridge as like a landmark, as a way to go, but I don't think we're going to because of this hill there. Because I don't think Bangor is that far in now. So I think we're just going to kind of stumble into Bangor. We're probably not that far from the outskirts already. But we shall see. We shall carry on down here and see where it takes us. It's a beautiful section of rocky, stony beach. That's just so peaceful here. But yes, we're not going to be going down this way. I'm just having a little rest at the moment, because I believe that this is all part of Penrhyn Castle, like the estate and gardens and everything, so you can't even go that way. So we're going to be heading inland a little bit for the rest of the walk, really inland and then through the outskirts of Bangor, because we're not that far away, and then we're going to be ending it at the pier. That's when the official walk ends, at Bangor's pier. So not that far to go at all now. Crazy to think it's been like 7 days. Well, this is day 7. Started in Chester. Absolute mad. But there's so many places along the way where I've found that are just like really just special. Like this. No crowds, barely anyone here. It's just a gorgeous little section of coastline. I think that might be the best view of Penrhyn Castle we're going to get on this walk. One day I will be back, because I'm definitely interested in exploring that. It looks gorgeous. So we've gotten a little bit inland now, and we're just sort of crossing fields and general countryside. Just gone past a little church, but we are no longer by the coast, which is a shame. Oh, you can just see the top of Penrhyn Castle there. Yeah, but when I look on the map of where I'm heading, we're not really by the coast anymore. I mean, we're very close to it, but for the very last section going into Bangor, you have to avoid Penrhyn Castle because it's all owned and private. It's not owned by, I think it's owned by the National Trust, but it's like private grounds and the rest. It's not part of the path. So that's a bit of a shame that we have to go back inland just before Bangor. So we're just kind of crossing general, normal, boring old countryside for the very last section. I was kind of hoping maybe we'd get to see Bangor and see it getting closer. But unfortunately it doesn't look like we can. We're just going to stumble upon it sooner or later. We've got a little bit go left, just kind of winding through countryside before we get to it. Just going through some little villages now, and that's one of the entrances to the Penryn Estate, private entrance by the looks of it. Quite grand, isn't it? We're just crossing this beautiful little river here. And now that we're sort of getting back into civilization, the guide's actually coming in very handy, because there's lots of directions now. You've got to go down different roads and routes. But to be fair, the actual signposts have started appearing again. I think when they're all more complicated directions like there is now, they do appear, which is good. Don't know what this is here, but the railway bridge runs right through it, which is very cool. We're heading down this way now. It says something about in my guide, it's called Seltest or something, and this whole little village that we've just been through was built by the owner of Penryn Castle. It's sort of like a model village to house all of his workers, and he didn't allow them to, he didn't build a pub, he didn't let them build a pub, because he called it a corrupting ale house. So whether or not this place has a pub or not yet, I don't know. But if not, it's because of the owner of Penryn Castle didn't let him. This really is quite a dull bit right at the end. Just walking through, and this road, like, it's kind of closed for cars, but it's just a bunch of like sort of development areas, I guess. Like the roads here, everything's kind of ready with the road, and it veers off onto just loads of empty patches where I'm guessing one day they're hoping to build stuff. But we, believe it or not, we are close to Bangor, so it's like just over this hill is the main part of Bangor. We're going to be going here. There is a little sign, I can see it. Going right down here through like some housing that is literally on the edge of Bangor, but doesn't seem like anything exciting for the end, unfortunately, until we get to the pier, to the end point, and then I can relax. Time wise as well, it's only 1:10, and I've got till 4 till my train, so plenty of time. Chill in Bangor, get some food, and just wait for my train home. I'm excited now. I'm excited to get back, to get on the train. It's going to be good. So this bit now I'm going to be on for a little while. It should take me basically to Bangor, pretty much. And it used to be a former railway line, my guide says. Taking Slate down to the port at Bangor from the Lord Penwyn's quarries at Bethesda. So that's pretty cool. That's what we're walking on now. I think this is the railway that goes over the top. Crossing this footpath, and very, very soon we should literally be arriving at the coast again, at the port, and then we can literally just follow that up into Bangor and head to the pier. So this is very nice. So close to the end. Made it to the port. This is Port Penryn. I think it's still used, and was once something like the largest quarry port in the world, something. But we are heading away from it again. But soon we will be in Bangor proper. Here we go now, descending into Bangor. God, can't believe I've made it. It's my first time in Bangor. Don't really know anything about it, But there's a very cool looking, looks like a church or a cathedral, something big anyway over there, big tower. Looks like more like a battlement, doesn't it? Like a seaside battlement. But around it looks like a big building, sort of like a church. Very cool. Here we are, we've reached the pier. Oh my god. I'm gonna get to the end of it and then we're done. To the end now. Can just about see the Great Orme still. Over there, this is Anglesey, that we're right next to, end of the pier. And we can just about see the start of the Menai Bridge, built by Thomas Telford. No way am I going there today. I'm ending it at this end of the pier. Here we go. And there we go. I have made it. We have done the whole of the North Welsh Coast, walked from Chester all the way to Bangor to this pier, and it's a superb view. You can see all over, there's Anglesey here, Menai Bridge you can just about see. Oof. Snowdonia Mountains over there, Llanfairfechan is there where we've walked today. Further back, I can just make out the Little Orme and then the Great Orme where Llandudno is. And we've been further back from there, well, Conway we visited. But then Rhyl, Talaca, Prestatyn. Ooh, Flint, that was so long ago. Feels like so long ago, even though it was like a week. I feel like I should say something like very, big speechy type thing, but I'm just knackered. Now my feet have like given up now because they know it's the end. So yeah, it's been such a good adventure. Probably, I don't know if it's easier or harder than I thought. Day 3 was really bad, and then it got better. It got better. I definitely learned some things. Pack even less. I already packed like light, but I still packed probably too many clothes that I didn't even need. So I know to pack even less next time. And yeah, I would highly recommend doing something like this if you can, but it's not for the faint of heart, I guess. It's hard. Even if even an experienced walker, it's a lot of miles every day. You're going to be knackered, so it takes a lot out of you. But it's great to see all the environment go by and change in literal real time as you're walking, and just to look back and see how far you've come and stuff, and be like, I was there 2 days ago. It's pretty damn cool. Arbor Falls as well. Forgot about Arbor Falls. How could I forget? That was yesterday. That was magnificent. Extra bit. It's not even on the actual trail. On the actual trek. Oh, by the way, just before I wrap this up, you have to pay to come on this pier. What kind of bullshit is that? You have to pay to literally just walk up it. No, it's only 50p, so I was like, oh, I've got change on me, so fuck it, I'll pay you because I want to end the video on here. But the official end of the walk is actually just at the start of the pier. But yeah, you have to pay to come on the actual pier. I've never heard of that before. It's kind of bullshit, I think. Because you've got to pay to come on here, and then you've got to pay to, eat and everything as well, so strange. Bullshit, I say. Anyway, that is the end of this video. It's been a great journey. Anglesey will be next, eventually. Probably in a year's time or so, but one day we'll do Anglesey. Yeah, so I don't know what the next video is going to be, but that is the trip. 80 miles done from Chester to Bangor. Like and subscribe as usual, all the YouTubey stuff, and whatever the next video will be from Bangor, from the Welsh Coast, North Welsh Coast walk. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.